Hello and welcome to Cutter Builds. We're back with another episode of Satisfactory, and we're picking up where we left off last time, sending this industrial manufacturing up in the hub.
Milestone reached. Manufacturers can receive up to 4 inputs for the production of complex parts, such as computers and heavy modular frames, but most importantly the 2 new project parts. The modular engine and adaptive control unit are essential for the development of Phase 3 of project assembly. You are making good progress. The future is starting to look bright.
Nice. I'm going to go ahead and select the monorail technology, mostly just because these components I have in a large abundance, and it won't be too hard to get to encased industrial beams and also the motors here, I don't think at least. So we're going to kind of keep pushing on that. I do have some of those components, but we are into the fuel power. And so we're going to be spending some time over at the refinery today, getting things up and running, because with huge requirements like 1,000 plastic and rubber, we really need to get that going. And also I want to look into what it's going to take to get these heavy modular frames and computers up and running. It looks like there's quite a few components for those, and that's going to be using these new manufacturer buildings. So if I grab one of those, oh, they're absolutely ginormous, and of course it won't fit underneath my 3. Oh no, I'm just missing 50 plastic. So either way, we got to get over to the refinery and get that all set up and running here so that we're able to get these materials in our inventory so that we can start building some of this stuff. Before we head out, I'm just going to top off our manual things. I really need to get this encased industrial beams up and running automatically because it appears that we're going to need an absolute ton of them to build for stuff. But before we go, I wanted to come into the MAM here. We finally have the research necessary to do the production amplifier, which has been holding up a bunch of other research here. So we're going to grab this.
Production amplifier unlocked. Every single manufacturing and smelting building will be backwards compatible with this new technology. These buildings can now have a summer sloop embedded to increase resource output without requiring more input, at the cost of greatly increased power consumption.
Flow cycles within flow cycles make explosions into temples into explosions into temples. The spin sphere of woven windows. Each tiny body contains tinier bodies until the line layers fold into curves which folds into threads which weave the tapestry. A song of light and leaf and flower, a dance of matter clouds and...
I think they're trying to explain energy to matter conversion theory, but you do not need to understand it to do your job. I'll just mute them for you so you can continue your mission.
Aww.
I, however, will be taking notes. This is fascinating material.
I wanted to listen. All right, so I've got the output multiplier going here. I have my blue power slugs, and as you can see, every time this ticks in, I'm getting double, except for the very first one, which I'm not sure why that is. I think it's a known bug, but this is why we've been holding off on using all of the power slugs so far, is because we wanted to be able to get the double amounts out of it. So we're using these at 7.5 per minute. We're getting 15 per minute over here. This is going to take a little while, so I'm just going to let this go while we go off and do some adventuring. But I'm going to grab these first 11 that we've made here, and we're going to come over here and see about knocking out a few more pieces of technology. I'm trying to remember where that was that we needed. Ooh, I could get this. Scannable object enemies. Oh, that's interesting. We might come back and grab that. But I'm trying to remember where we had the power research. Here's the overclocking, which is also going to ironically give me underclocking, which I've wanted far more. Awesome.
Overclocking development completed. Power shards can now be inserted into all buildings to increase input and output speed. Underclocking is also possible. Note: power consumption of overclocked buildings increases exponentially.
All right. And then the last one that I really wanted was to get the thing with the crystal oscillators, but I don't have enough crystal. I know where we can get the, I call it crystal, the quartz crystal. I know where we can get some of that. I just don't have it being mined just yet, and we can't get the synthetic power shards until I think much later in the game. I don't know what this middle resource is, time crystals, but that sounds quite advanced. So we'll definitely be coming back to that. What is this? Polymer resin. So that's something that we're going to get out of the refinery at some point. And then over here, do I have any of that bacon? A lot of times now I've been putting it in my inventory. We don't. All right. Well, in that case, I think we're pretty well locked up. Do I want to spend them? I really don't. I want those for something else. We'll come back to it eventually. I need computers. I need 5 more computers. And so I really, really would like to try and handcraft some of those. But I'm lacking the plastics right now, and I only have enough circuit boards for, what, 4? And I need 5? And that is also being locked up by plastics. So we're going to have to take that with us, and we will deal with that once we get the plastics. So we will head out at this point to the refinery so I can show y'all what I've been working on over there. But along the way, we're going to stop and check out the updates to the iron factory because I've been doing a little bit of work off camera cleaning that up. You'll notice as I'm using my jets there that I've got actual fuel, packaged fuel now that I'm using for the jump jets, which has been awesome. It lasts quite a bit longer than the bio fuel was lasting, the solid biofuel. And here we are over at the main base, so to speak, or our starting area. And you can see that I have cleaned things up. I moved these around a little bit, and I have 2 rows of 8 smelters on the bottom floor and the same on the top. And that is allowing me to process all 4 of my mining nodes. And I'm combining them in and sending them in on these Mark IV logistics belts. And most of it's going into an item sink because the truck just can't keep up with this. And mostly that's because we're not consuming enough of it back at the base. If I look here, we are back up to 10 coupons. This stuff isn't worth a lot, but as soon as the truck takes some out, you can see it's loaded up. This stuff is just flying in there on these Mark IV belts, which is awesome. It's going to be full back up on iron ingots before the truck even practically gets out of the base, which is pretty cool. I need to spend some time on the copper side of things at some point, but I just haven't gotten there. However, I also cleaned up our concrete production a little bit. I added 1 additional constructor. I could do more, but we just haven't had the need. And I put in this nice industrial storage container to start letting it back up alongside a dimensional depot here to make sure that my inventory stays full, currently at 1,000 items, so that whenever I need concrete, I've got it on me for building foundations and such. So with all that, I'm going to jet up here. Oh, I'm not going to quite make it. We're going to take the power line up there. And then I'm going to take the power line back down, although I'm seeing a Mercer sphere over on top of that thing that I'd love to get at some point. But we'll have to focus on that maybe next time. A couple yellow power slugs too. Now that we're able to actually leverage the power slugs, I'm even more interested in them, although we have collected so many of them over the last couple of trips out of the base that really I don't have a need for more until I start using the ones that I have. And so we're just gonna keep trucking away here. Alrighty, oops, here we are, and oh, nice, we actually do have a fair amount of rubbers and plastics, so I'm going to grab at least some of this up in my inventory. You know what, I'm going to grab all of this up in my inventory, and while we're here, we're going to take a look at what we've added. We added this little fuel-powered generator here, which is providing 250 megawatts of power because we were getting real close to our cap before this. And then I also have this fuel packager here that was making the fuel so that I can power my jetpack. Now, I was expecting the canisters to get placed back in my inventory empty when I started using them up, and that has not happened. So this is a bit of a plastic sink in that the plastic that goes into making the canisters gets destroyed. It's not that big of a deal, but we did set one of those off to the side there just so that I can have some jetpack fuel on me at all times. And as you can see, the fuel buffer that we've added is full, which means I've got room for more of these fuel power stations. So we're going to use a fuel powered generator. I'm going to rotate this around, and we're going to put a few more of them down here. I'm going to see if I can squeeze one more in. Hang on, let's add another row of foundations before that one goes in. Hang on, was that an actual... Oh, that is a node. Okay. Let's not forget that's there. In fact, I'm going to put this foundation down, and then we're going to put an oil extractor right on top of this right now. We should have plenty of room to run that oil line back up to where the refineries are going to be getting built in a little bit here. However, I want to make sure that our power situation stays good. We haven't lost power in the base in a long time, and I would like to keep it that way just by being a bit proactive here. So the pipe is running way out here because that's where the pipe for that was. I would kind of like to actually have the pipes run closer to the power stations, I think. So I'm going to move them in here, and did that line up? It did. All right, we're going to move it in here like so, and hopefully we've got plenty of capacity here for the fuel. If I remember, whoa, what did I do there? If I remember correctly, each of these is only going to use 30 per minute. Let me double check. 20 per minute. So we will have the capacity in this pipe to last for quite some time. And so what I want to do, I think, is we're going to get rid of this setup, and I am going to put it back like so. That way all of these line up and are tiled, and then eventually I can flip and put some on the other side potentially when I need to rearrange some of this other stuff. Let me see, auto mode. Perfect. Okay, so now all I have to do is, instead of having them all go out to the large power line, I'm going to put a power line down right behind here. And I'm going to disconnect this power line, put it here, and we're going to upgrade that to a Mark II. And then I'll run that line into the power tower. Okay, now we've got all of these fuel going, and that gives us a capacity of 2,200 if we can keep them filled with fuel. We might run into a bit of a problem now because we're not generating that much fuel right now. So what we need to do is get the rest of our refineries set up and running in a way that we're going to keep producing. And if we look here, we're not backed up, so we are leveraging a good chunk of this heavy residue. This can use up to 60 per minute to output 40 per minute of fuel. And that 40 per minute of fuel, we're using 20. So I can build a lot more refineries if I can take 60. And I'm only outputting 10 on this line. Let me check the other material. I'm curious how much rubber's putting out. Rubber's putting out more. Rubber puts out 20. So that's 10, 20, 40. And I can take 60, so I could do 2 more of these plastic lines and have enough capacity on this one to keep up with it. But I want to do a lot more than that. So let's see if we can get this all sorted out. This is 120, and then that means this one over here is probably only going to be 60. Oil coming in, yeah, 60, so that'll be 180, so that'll give us a lot to work with. I'm gonna hook this up just so that it can start building up pressure, filling up its local reserves. All right, so let's math this out then. I want to keep at probably just 1 rubber because I don't need that much, and that's taking up 30 oil per minute. And then these are each 30. And I just said I had 180, so 30, 60, 90. I can do 3 more. And if I do all 3 of those as plastic for right now, or maybe I'll keep it at a 2-to-1 ratio. I wish I knew what else I needed rubber for. Let me see if I can, whoops, more recipes in the codex. How do I open the codex for an item? Codex is O, so if I mouse over it and push O, no, I've still got to search for it. So rubbers is used in this modular engines. Wow, 15 of them per engine. That's going to be quite a bit, actually. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. We'll do 2 rubbers and then the rest plastic. So let me convert this to rubber. I'm going to convert this to rubber. And then I'm going to build a bunch of plastic down here on the end. And I won't need to worry about our oil getting... our oil pipe being too full because our nodes are so impure. I'm going to run my platforms down here though, so that I can pipe that oil in right here and stick it in the side, I think. And I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but I just know we're gonna need more platforms in general. Man, I'm tempted to rotate this actually. Oil extractor. Let's point it out this way. And that way, if I do want to run some fuel off the other side, I've got room to put down at least a couple more fuel extractors. Oh my gosh, get out of the way. I hate these things. I'm just trying to build, and they're always right in the way of where I'm trying to build. Okay, I'm looking at this, and I'm not happy about this being offset from the miner here. Is there any way I could have moved these closer? Let's try that before I get into some crazy layout changes. All right, this is lined up on this line, and this is over 1/2. Okay, now's the time to make changes, folks. Get everything all lined up while we're only dealing with a couple of machines. All right, so now that I got that out of the way, let's take a look here. I want to put this right in front of that and right there. I think that's gonna let me bring this in. It's gonna let me bring that in. And then let's start working on these refineries. I'm gonna actually come down here because I have a hard limit on how many I can even put onto these platforms now. And so this is gonna be somewhere in here, if I'm lining this up right. Yep. And that's just gonna give me a solid idea of where this will sit. Not inside the tree. I like it. And can I come back one more? Is that gonna be considered clipping? Let's put one more down and find out. Oh, that's gonna be perfect. All right, so I needed two for rubber, and then 4 for plastic, if I remember correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's gonna work out perfectly for us. Let me just get the valves placed, get them all hooked up, and then we'll come back in, worry about setting recipes and all the fun stuff. That shouldn't even be possible. I don't know what's going on. All right. And then because I have space back here, I'm not sure where the power connectors actually are. Yeah. I'm sorry, the connectors for the power seem to be on the front. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna bring a power pole in, whoops, right about here. Let me make sure that's not gonna interfere with these lines. It is, it's gonna be right in the middle of those lines. Let me get these set out first so that I know what I'm doing. Okay, now that I know where the pipes are gonna be, let's grab this. And I'm gonna put the power right there. Oh, we need a mark 2. And then we're gonna run this right down the line to the other power pole. Perfect. And then this outputs 20, so I'm gonna get 20, 40, and then these are all 10, so 50, 60, 70, 80 that I need to pipe into a refinery that's gonna make fuel. And there goes my power. I've finally run out of power. Get this lined up here. All right, is that too close? Technically, no, that's right on the money. So let's go ahead and get this thing all hooked up so I can get my power back on, which ought to be interesting, given that I need power to make power. All right, so as long as everything's shut down, now is a great time to actually change this into an industrial fluid buffer. So we're gonna add some platforms and try and figure this out. I think I'm gonna step that back 1 to give me some room. Look at the girthiness of that thing. All right, and then that is gonna come into here. And then feeding into this will be a refinery. Yeah. Oops, we messed that up. Let's see if I can get that line back. Where'd it go? There's that, and I want to leave enough room in case we decide that I need more of these. I can build them out this way and feed them in, so we're going to do that. And then I'm going to put one of these right smack in the middle here. And that will go into that, which will go into that. Perfect. Okay, so this is going to be making our residual fuel. And that needs to get hooked into this power line. And as you can see, we kind of messed up all of our pipes here. So I'm going to have to redo the pipes because they're completely clipping through where we need to take our belts up out of the machines here. So we're going to take care of this real quick and be back in a minute once we're done messing around with the minor reorganization things. All right, after a bit of shenanigans, we finally have this up and running. Part of the problem was I forgot to pipe the items out into our storage container, which is still going to be a problem. I'm going to need to set up a smart splitter with an overflow into probably an awesome sink or something to make sure that this keeps going in our absence, because all of this is only enough fuel to keep one of these residual fuel refineries running. And that's creating 40 per minute of our fuel, which is actually exactly what 2 of these need. So I've actually disconnected the pipe here for the other 2 for the time being, because with the oil that we have, we're only keeping this amount of refineries going. Now, a couple of things. One, I can go find some more oil, which will allow me to run some more refineries and set up another one of these, but I know that there's only one other impure node over here, which is only going to get me to a partial one of these. Now, the other thing I can do is set up a refinery and then run it out into fuel directly. So I'm kind of trying to look. I can't remember where that other oil is. Let's see if it'll pop up. That one, 83, right there. I believe this was the one that was also impure. Yep, so what I'm thinking is I could pipe this over and turn one of these into just fuel. And then that would give me more fuel to be able to keep things running over here. And in fact, what I might end up doing then is redirecting this one for creating fuel, because then I can run it straight into these pipes from this side, and then I'll run that oil into this pipe network over here. I think that's what we're gonna do. So let me just go over here and slap down that refinery, see if I can get that up and running right now. We're not even gonna bother with foundations or anything, so this is just gonna be kind of janky running across to our pipe over here. Put it up on the rock just to make sure it's extra janky. There we go. And that, oh, it's not going to reach. Is going to run right on over here to be fed into this other node, like so. That doesn't look too bad. And then I do need to bring the power line over here. Is that going to reach? The wire is too long. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put the power down right here on this rock next to the other thing. Nothing if consistent, and we'll stick it right there. That's going to give me the shot in the arm for the oil we need coming in this way. And then this one, we're going to tear down now, that it won't be affecting our production in any capacity. And then let me toss down our refinery here. Man, I don't know where I want this thing. Let me get rid of this packager for a moment. I'm going to want to run the fuel back up into the industrial fluid buffer so that it can get pushed out down the line to things. So let me think about this here. It's also going to be creating some other items that I don't know what to do with just yet. Oh, I'm missing motors. Of course I am. Can I make some motors? And that stupid creature's going to come stand right where I'm trying to build right now. I just need 7 motors. I do have the stuff, so give me a second. All right, let's try this again. We need a refinery. And I do want it to be somewhere over here. Gosh, maybe I just bring it way up here? No. This power pole needs to move, unfortunately. Let's move it now. I'm gonna build a power tower with a platform this time. All right, did I just shut my whole grid down because I hooked that up backwards? I did. There we go, let's try this. Hopefully it comes back on. Please, pretty please. All right, it's looking good for the moment. Let's get this fuel going before we have more problems. I need to see how much fuel we're gonna make, so let me just toss one down real quick. So fuel is gonna make 40 per minute with 60 per minute of this. How much am I bringing in? 60 per minute. So I'm gonna make enough for 2 more out of this one node. And I'm gonna be creating some of this polymer resin, which I don't know if I need it for anything. Let me go look. I know I need it for at least one MAM research thing. Looks like I can make residual plastic and rubber with water. I would not want to have to set that up. So yeah, I don't know, creating fuel straight up. I guess I'm going to do it just because I want enough of this to get whatever research we've got. So here we go. Into here. That's the crude oil. Crude oil's filling up my pipes. This is just going to need to get hooked up to the power. And now we're creating fuel, and we're going to be creating polymer resin. So let me get a fuel pipe run down here a ways. I'm going to run it to right on this joint. Run it to 2 before. I'm going to use the bend to come over to there. We'll bring it up to here and wrap it in right there. All right, so now I should start seeing this fuel level go up in just a second after this pipe starts to get full, or maybe not because these things are not yet filling up. Yeah, I'm not, I'm barely keeping up with these right now, probably because it's pushing it all down into this one. This one's climbing. All right, I'll take it. This is creating fuel, though. And the sound of this refinery sounds way too much like the power going out for my tastes. This polymer resin, though, whole buckets, that is a lot of side effect. I wish I could remember how much of it I needed. And our whole power grid is going to go down if this ever gets full. So many problems, so many things to keep track of. All right, well, the good news is this doesn't seem to be creating stuff very fast, so I've got at least a few minutes to deal with that. This, on the other hand, is cranking through it really quick. I'm gonna get at least up to a stack of this stuff before I switch this over to something else. Let me go see how much we would produce if we were doing something else. So this is taking 30 a minute to create 20. This is 60 to 40. Okay, so I wouldn't have enough from just the one node to do it with the other products. We would need more oil from somewhere, which is why I've been doing it the way I've been doing it. Okay. Well, folks, we're going to let this go. I'm going to run this up over here and figure out a way to pipe it into this container. Maybe from the bottom on this side. There we go. All right, so now all of that stuff is going to at least be going into this industrial storage container, hopefully not causing us huge problems before we can get back to base and figure some stuff out and come back out here with more supplies. I already forgot what it is that I'm waiting for, though, but we need to get all of this plastic and rubber back up to base so that we can keep crafting things. And maybe what we need to do is shut down a portion of the iron facility at some point. But we do have a lot more power available to us now. Let me go see if this thing is starting to fill up now. It is very slowly starting to fill up here. And with that, I guess I will reconnect this. And we will re-enable these power generators. Alright, we should be good on power. It's all about figuring out what to do with this stuff, figuring out how much of this resin that I actually need to keep. So we're going to keep all 132 of that. Grab all the plastic we can carry and head on back up to the base. Now we've got a platform up here, which is going to help me hop up here and travel the lines. So while I'm passing through here, I'm going to shut off half of my iron facility right now because we just do not have a need for this much iron production. We're not able to use it fast enough, and it's just a lot of waste of resources. So there we go, out with that, and we will reconnect that later when we need more of it. And of course, we need to check our fuel supplies here for the trucks. They've been running non-stop, and we haven't been up at the base to manage that at all. We are starting to run dangerously low on this solid biofuel, so at some point here, we've really got to get this fuel stuff sorted out. We probably are going to need to go find some more iron nodes. We may disable some of the trucks as they come back up here for the short term. Especially like maybe the steel. I think probably makes sense. So let me disable this for the time being. And then especially iron right now. We're going to just let the whole logistics system take a breath. And while that all catches up, let's go figure out what it is that I needed this blue stuff for. There it is, synthetic polyester fabric. Well, let's grab some fabric real quick. I should have some on me here somewhere. I have one fabric. Turns out I don't have enough fabric to do that, so we'll have to come back to it. But we've got enough of the material, so I'm not too worried about it. Let me just keep going through, make sure that we didn't have a need for it anywhere else. Nope, I think we're good. So I can shove this into a slot, and we'll have it when we need it, but we're gonna disable that back up there so that we don't keep mass producing that. And in the meantime, let me dump some of this rubber off, maybe some of the plastic off, and we'll sort through some stuff in the base here, see if we can get the next technology moving forward. There's 86 power shards. Awesome. Let's toss these in. Oh, let me change the recipe to yellow slugs now. We'll run this, and I'm curious if these are gonna double or not double on the first time like the other ones did. If that's the case, we should have waited until we got all the slugs in the game. But no, we've got more than enough power shards now, and I think there's a way to make them. Nope, that one's going. So it's just the very first one. So as long as I don't take this output multiplier out, we should be good to go. So I'm gonna let that run while we're doing stuff. All right, folks, so taking stock of what we need to work through these technology, we definitely need to start automating the motors and encased beams here, because I'm going to need them for this, and then I'm going to need them for other components further down the line, such as these heavy modular frames. I'm going to need a bunch of them, and for computers, not so much, but yeah, we want to get at least these encased industrial beams going on an automated run, and that means that we're going to need to come over here and work on our steel production. I do have the truck turned off at the moment, mostly because it was just so inefficient. We're bringing in so many of these industrial pipes, or these steel pipes, I'm sorry, that are ratios are all skewed. So what I'm going to do is take the truck down to our steel facility, and we're going to balance that out, make some less pipes, and send back more beams. And then once we've got those beams coming in, I've got some lime right here on the right side of the road that I can run across into the factory, and we'll get some automated encased beams up and running here to make our lives a little bit easier. All right, so if I remember right, I'm doing 3 to 2 right now. And that's partially because this is what, 60 per minute coming into here, and these were 30 a minute. That's right. So I am taking 3 times the resources to do this. So what I would need to do is convert one of these to a half. I think that's right. Yep. And that would shift the balance over here a little bit. Now let me just double check here that this is all set up and working appropriately. I'm bringing, oh no, these are not coming out like I thought they were. So these are coming out 45 a minute. They're getting used 45 a minute. So what are we bringing down? Let's go look at this iron node up here. It's been so long since I set this all up that I don't even remember. We're bringing it down 240 a minute. So if we have 240 a minute divided by 45, I'm going to get 5.3 is what I need. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 down here. But they're not even moving as fast as they could because I think I miscounted how much I should have here. Taking steel ingots in. Taking iron ore in at 45, I'm putting it out at 45. So 5.3 means that I could have a third of an additional line over here cranking stuff out. These are, or I'm sorry, I'm wrong again. That means that I should have 5 1/3 of these. I've got 45 per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I've got plenty of those. What's going on over here then? 60, 120, and then I've got 60, 120. These are only not producing, like, why are my ingots backed up? That's what I'm trying to figure out right now. I should not have any backup at all. This stuff should all be running super fast through here because I've got 240 coming out, 240 going in. And In fact, I've got more than that. Maybe things are just in a weird state of backlog due to the power outages, question mark? Either way, this is going steel beam now, which should result in it using a lot more materials. And in theory, this one should start getting starved out then, because I'm taking 60, 120. Oh, no, I'm not thinking here. These are taking them 60 a minute. I got 240 going here. Yeah, these are taking 60 a minute. Oh my gosh, I can't do math today. 120, 240, and then the leftovers are there. Yeah, I mean, I should be draining this belt at this point. And it looks like I am. It looks like this is all just due to the power outage here. All right, it looks like everything is running now. We've started emptying things out. Now that I've started draining the iron ingots a little bit faster than we have capacity for. So the goal here is going to be to drop this number down to 50%, and then I'll be at 30 and 7.5, and then that should run at the correct speed here for everything to go in. It's a little weird that I'm mixing belts. It doesn't really matter at all. It's all going the same place anyway. I don't know why I bothered to go through the hassle of cleaning that all up like that. But now I will be bringing in half of the iron or the steel pipes that I was, and bringing in a little bit more of the steel beams. So we'll go for that. And then if we just load that up, I'm not even bringing back a half a truck. That's a little disappointing. All right. Well, it is what it is. Let's drive this back up and see about setting up those encased steel beams before we send our trucks back on the way. We'll give the steel bit to catch up there, so to speak. While we're back up at the base here, I'm going to make up a handful of circuit boards, and that's going to allow me to make the 5 computers that I'm missing to do the upgrade that's going to let me upload into my quantum inventory thing from my inventory on my person, rather than having to use these placed structures for everything, which I think is going to be a huge win for us. So let me go ahead and grab this. I think I needed 17 of them. I'll make 1 extra as long as we're in here and we've got it going. And then let's come over here and just double check what else I need to grab. I need 3 and 29. Let's try it. Alien technology. I think this is going to be a game changing for my inventory management.
Manual depot uploader unlocked. Storage dimension and pocket dimension now connected both ways and stable. Parts can now be uploaded to the storage dimension directly from the inventory. Note: the storage dimension now understands the boundaries of the pocket dimension and recognizes the distinction between matter belonging to the Pioneer's inventory and matter belonging to the Pioneer.
The window within a window within the shallows within the deep, curling around itself separately, echoes strangely.
I'm sure strange is the correct term for what this must feel like to you.
Interesting. And then I can always upgrade the speed and the capacity. I don't have an immediate need to do that. We're going to wait till we're automating the computers for that. And with all of that out of the way, I think we're finally set up for what we set out to do originally, which is to automate these encased industrial beams. So we're continuing to let some of it go manually, but let's be honest, this is a losing game trying to keep up with all of this stuff by hand. So we're gonna just get over here and set up the assemblers for getting this going. And I want to do it on this side of the base where we've got some space, and it's also closer to our steel here, steel beams. So let me see if we were to run the steel beams in somewhere on this side. Production, assembler. And then I also need concrete. I'm going to need 36 concrete per minute. So let me see. We're going to be able to bring the concrete in. It's right over there. So probably right through this space, I think. Let me put one down right here to start with. Let me see what the concrete recipe looks like. That's going to be 15. I need 36. Wow, so I'm going to need at least 2 of these to be anywhere near enough, and realistically, we should probably go for 3 of them. We're going to encroach that power pole just a little bit. And let's go see how much lime is down here. All right, this is a normal node, and if I put down a miner Mark II, oh, I need 2 portable miners to do that. We should make a handful of those up and just leave them in the storage. Miner Mark II, creature in the way. Okay, get out of the way. I'm gonna run Mark III belts anyway, because it's so much easier. And we're going to be bringing it in somewhere right over here, so let me turn it to face that way. I'm going to bring it way up there, and then hopefully I'll be able to reach across that chasm. Let's get some power going. Can I reach that? I can. Look at that. And then... oh no, it's going to be too long. Okay, hang on. I'm going to bring it over here. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do at all. I did it again. I always forget that I have to rotate it before I put it down. All right, I think that's going to reach. Let's give it a shot. Oh no, we're coming up just short. All right, well, instead of trying to do this a whole bunch of times, let's put down a conveyor pole right there. And I'm going to put down some splitters. All right, there we go. Now we can come down here and monkey around with this other side as much as we want. Start by tearing that down. And we're gonna bring this a lot closer this time. I just want to stay out of our road path here. I guess I can always take this back down afterwards. That should work. Let's go up and check, get the power hooked up, and hopefully have one more little piece of automation going for our tiny little base. And that is our concrete. Then all we got to do is come over here and pick up the steel. So I'm going to run this out to about here, I think. And then we'll run it somewhere over here. I'm going to try and run it to here. But we're going to run up a level to get over all the steel pipes. And then I'm going to run it to here. And down into the machine. There we go. Alright, we got steel beams, we got concrete, And we're making encased industrial beams. This is perfect. We're going to need an absolute ton of these. So I'm going to put down a large industrial strength storage unit here. And just like that, we should be good to go here in a while. The next thing is going to be to do the same thing with the motors over here. So first things first, let me decommission this setup. We don't need it anymore. And then I really don't need these uploaders here anymore. I would only need this style if we were going to connect it to a resource that we had access of. Oops, and then, yeah, we can actually just upload this stuff that we don't need over in this window. This is working out great. All right, so this is steel pipes and wire. 40 wire a minute. How much does one of these produce? 30 per minute. Of course, it's an awkward number. And then this is going to be 10 of those per minute. So I need 2 of these to keep one of these cranking out on motors. And then I've got rotors for days still. So maybe what I'll do, I'll take these 2 with me. And I'm gonna set up 2 assemblers for stators. And then I'm gonna bring out 1 more assembler here. I'm gonna leave some room for shenanigans. And this is gonna be my motors. And then all I need to do is feed rotors into it. So let me get a merger set up here. Bring in the stators. And the stators need steel pipes and wire. So let me bring some steel pipes over. I've got tons of them. In fact, I've got so many of them. Let me just separate this, and we will put a splitter in right here. That's going there. And then this is gonna come all the way over here, clipping through this stuff. Once again, we're going to set up some splitters. Bring some of these into each. And then I need wire. I need 80 wire per minute. All right, let's see. I'm going to set up some constructors over here in a very unorganized way. How many did I decide I could get out of one of these? Wire 30. So I'm gonna need 30, 60, 90. I'm gonna need 2 of these running, or 3 of these running. I'm sorry, I can do math. So where can I set up 3 constructors and bring copper all the way over from there? Well, we'll be bringing the copper down this line, so I'll set the constructors up right here. And let's find ourselves some copper. Looks like the bottom, this empty. Oh, our copper is actually completely drained right now. I'm going to enable the autopilot here and send him on his way, hopefully. We may finally need to do something about that. This copper going into here is doing what? Making copper sheets for us that we needed temporarily. Yeah, I don't need this whole setup anymore, and it's not even feeding into anything. I guess it's not hurting anything, so I'm going to leave it there. And I need copper brought in, so I'm going to put a conveyor pole right here just to find my way. So that when I put a splitter here, I can check to see what all I'm running into. All right, this is all hooked up. We've got copper. Let me figure out how we're going to get the copper over here. Probably just going to run some splitters. We're starting to get a little bit lazy though, so I'm going to put these in so that I'm not clipping belts. Splitter, we're going to be running it from that side. Okay, let me see now if I can do a lift pointed that way. My blatant use of lifts just to get things to line up properly. That's all right. Now I've got all the stators run, and that's going to be stators into here. I just need some rotors, and for rotors, I would need a bunch of stuff, but luckily for us, I have got piles of rotors. So we're going to continue to use the piles of rotors to get us started at least, mostly because the building fatigue is starting to set in on getting this all lined up well here. And I need to kind of plan that out a little bit. So we will go grab the rotors while we wait for that copper to get back and start coming down the line here. And why do I not see... Oh, we didn't hook it back up. Our belt here. In fact, we should make this a Mark 4 belt. That way it's feeding the rods both ways. And I apparently didn't hook all of this up to power. So let's get us a Mark 1 belt out here. And then we can bring that right over to this pole as well. All right, everything looks good there. Everything looks good here. Just need me some copper, which I see coming down the line now, but it's not splitting. This was supposed to be splitting off of here. So let's take this down for a second and see if I can figure out why that is. Logistics, conveyor, splitter. There we go. Now we're getting some copper. A little bit of clipping, that's okay. Okay, we're gonna get the copper to the wire, and then the wire to the stuff, and we need rotors. And we need to upgrade this supply belt to Mark 4 so that I'm getting the right amount to both sides. All right, I think that's good. Rotors, where did I leave the rotors? Not in there, in here. All right. We don't have as many as I thought we had. We may have to do something about that here eventually, but we got plenty of iron, so it shouldn't be a problem. We've got the stators coming off the line now, and the rotors coming in. We should be all set. And like always, the last step of this is to set up a storage container. I'm just going to use a basic one because I don't have that many rotors, so I know it's not going to stack up that tall. And let's see how this has been doing while we've been goofing off with everything else. 82, that's not too bad. We're still a ways away from getting this train unlocked, but once we do get that unlocked, that's going to be amazing. We can stop relying on these fickle trucks and just run something that requires energy. I think it'll work out a lot better for us. So let me just go ahead and drop what I've got in here so we can get a clearer picture. We're halfway there on motors and more than halfway there on the encased industrial beams. I guess that makes sense since that's where we started first. And yeah, with that, we're going to wrap up today's episode. We made a lot of progress on the base here, and we're just gonna keep things going. It looks like our iron ran out while I had the truck turned off. I completely forgot. We gave these guys a couple-minute break and then never started them back up. So let's go ahead and send that guy on his way. And the same here with our steel. Now that we're making all these steel products, we got to keep the steel flowing. So let's go ahead and send him on the way. Almost ran into the copper truck there, I think. And with that, we got the biofuel back under control, which is what I was really looking for, is to give this a chance to start catching up. We got plenty of biomass coming into here. And really, I could just come out here with a chainsaw and cut down a handful of trees if we needed to. So I'm feeling good. We're in a good spot. Appreciate everybody that's been watching along on this Let's Play. And let me know in the comments below what you think we should work on next. Well, that's all for today. Ketterick out.